Sarah McBride.
I'm Steve Bennett, step into my lair. The Apprentice, episode 13 of season 4, Tales from the Darkside, about an uppity feminist college student by the name of Sarah McBride who gets a job working for a living museum that recreates life in 17th century Salem, called the Magistrate. A very nice concept. I've been to places like this too, mostly Colonial Williamsburg, where they have people dress the parts of people from the 18th century, where you could walk around and they could show you how to spin yarn. They can show you their places where they sleep. These are obviously actors that are pretending to be people from the 18th century. How they make food, how they hunt, their customs. And a perfect place to bring a family. And also a good setting for a horror series, because it is a little creepy. You go into Colonial Williamsburg and there's a bunch of people pretending like it's 1760. You're like, dude. And there's always people that visit those places and act like dicks. Do you guys have a cell phone? Well, it seems like it could be a fun place to work. You're in a constant mindset of pretending like it's the 1700s. So walking through this area and seeing people cosplay as pilgrims is enjoyable and kind of hilarious. And the main character, Sarah, is played by Haviland Morris, who was in 16 Candles as Caroline, Gremlins 2, haven't seen that one in a while, as Maria, and even Home Alone 3 as Karen, so she's quite a famous actress. She does a really good job portraying a uptight, snooty feminist, but also someone that attractive girl who gets this job working for this living museum and then is transported back into 16th century Salem and accused of being a witch. Tales from the Darkside's budget works well here since it's very easy for them to portray houses from the 1600s and dress them up in wearing a gown and a long skirt and a coif, and seeing her modern feminist outlook bump up against these Puritans from the 1600s is a little bit hilarious. Also, this episode keeps you guessing. Did she really get transported back to the 1600s, or are they doing the village scenario where they're just pretending like they're from the 1600s? So she gets this job working for Magistrate Thomas Branford, and he is stern, and he is angry, but he somehow has the magical powers to transport people from 1986, which is when this is set in, to the 1600s. So he transports her to the 1600s, at least we're led to believe that, and has her interacting with a young man named Peter that she begins to fancy, and the magistrate's daughter, Jane. So we get 4 characters in this tale, and they're all 4 really good. Jane wanting to break out from this Puritan society, but being held down. Peter seeming nice at first, but eventually going along with what the magistrate wants, and the magistrate being a dick the entire time. So first, Sarah isn't sure what's going on. She thinks she just got a job at this living museum, and they're just acting out what it would be like to live in the 1600s. Then she learns, no, she's actually been transported to the 1600s. She's not just pretending anymore. And now they're accusing her of being a witch, which doesn't help when she lights a cigarette and starts smoking and freaks everyone out. Yes, that does seem like very witchy activities. You saw someone with a lighter in 1692. I'd probably think you were a witch as well. She begins to develop this relationship with this girl named Jane, and telling her that she doesn't have to let the men push her around, that she's her own woman, that she's strong, that she's confident. And you see a clash of the ideals of old and new. Of course, this episode is portraying the ideals of the 1600s as backwards, but they also make the character Sarah very headstrong and a bit annoying as well. I was thinking while watching this episode, you now know you're in the 1600s. It's time to play along a little bit. You're like, oh, magistrate, of course, I will go clean the garden and wash your clothes in the well. But she never does that. She's stuck in the 1980s, where women's liberation has come to fruition. So the magistrate has had enough of Sarah's yapping and puts her in this guillotine. She's freed by her friend Jane, who believes her that she's from another time, and maybe she could be transported from that time and get out of this hellhole where men are constantly forcing her to do things she doesn't want to do. And it ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. They manage to escape from the magistrate, and somehow Jane, the girl who is helping the main character Sarah, gets transported into 1986, but we're not exactly sure the fate that befalls Sarah. So Jane gets transported to this living museum in 1986, and people are taking pictures of her because they think that she's reenacting Salem when she's actually really from Salem and she's time traveling. And Sarah herself is getting put in front of a court with her makeup smeared and being sentenced to death for being a witch by the magistrate. And they ended right there. So I thought what was going to happen is we see Jane go into the future, 1986, and she stays there. So I figured Sarah and the magistrate somehow got transported to 1986 too, and we were seeing this mock trial, and then right at the end, people would start clapping because they thought it was a reenactment. But that doesn't happen, so it's very possible that Sarah is still stuck in Salem in 1692, or it's possible they all got transported to 1986. Also, we learn why these episodes look a bit dated. Technically, this was released in May of 1988, but it was filmed in 86. Since not only is this episode set in 1986, at the end of these episodes it says Laurel, which is the production company, 1986. So they're making these episodes at least 2 years before they're actually released on television. Which is why Tales from the Darkside always looked a bit dated. Monsters, the series I covered previously, also premiered in 1988 and looks way more modern than these episodes do. So I'm going to give The Apprentice a 7 out of 10 on the sliding scale of Tales from the Darkside. Outside of an unclear ending, I don't think there's anything really wrong with this episode. They could have explained more exactly how they get these powers to transport from modern times to the 1600s. But it's explained a little bit that the magistrate has this power and is taking people from the 80s to the 1600s because he wants to convince people that they're witches so that he can maintain his control of Salem. And one way to do that is to have a scapegoat, in this case witches. Sarah McBride is no witch, she's just a strong, powered feminist. Let's look at a bad review and a good review. This person gave it a 3 out of 10, very predictable. The Apprentice is another predictable story from Tales from the Darkside, and the type of thing that's been done a million times before. A young woman goes job hunting and finds a placement at a museum which features living history in the form of 16th century Puritan exhibits. Unfortunately for her, the museum is a strange place, and soon odd things begin to happen. He goes back in time. These 1980s shows always seem to trot out a time-slip story featuring Puritan life, and this one is no different. The lack of a budget means that the tale lacks authenticity as a whole. I think it works for it because it looks low budget, and it is low budget. You'll groan when they trot out the old witchcraft angle yet again. So predictable, so cliche. Oh, I was so bored. I wonder what he thinks about the other episodes of the series. This one's boring. 9 out of 10. A great episode with a chilling ending and confusing ending. This is one of the better Darkside episodes ever made and deals with a cunning storyline where a Puritan pastor holding knowledge of the future intentionally creates witch panics and trials by using time travel and kidnapping people from the future, then accusing them of witchcraft. Yeah, that's what I got out of it too. In order to maintain a puritanical hold on pre-colonial America through fear. I mean, if he could time travel, wouldn't he at least bring a boombox or something? That's what I would do. Without a doubt, the episode has one of the most chilling endings of any Darkside episode, where a girl from the future, bound and helpless at a witchcraft trial, is taken away to be executed, with the last shot of the episode showing the fear in her eyes, and her makeup being smeared looking kind of hot. Is that weird for me to say? Unless, of course, it's a mock trial and she's not actually going to be killed. That's my interpretation. I'm going to say they're all in the 80s and they're going to have fun. And after this, go to a Motley Crue concert. Next up is episode 14, The Cutty Black Sow. Written by Michael McDowell. You know what that means. We're going to get an actual monster in this one. We're going to get some horror. We're going to get some blood. There are only 6 more episodes left until we finish the series. Check out our playlist for the other series that we've covered: Monsters, Fear Itself, Black Mirror, Tales from the Darkside, of course, Mystery Science Theater 3000, Cowboy Bebop, and Pet Shop of Horrors. Thanks a lot.